Hi everyone, can you hear me? Okay, so welcome to today's lecture. And now you're officially registered to the class. The registration change was done yesterday, so welcome to the class. So today I'm going to explain the team projects, especially for the proposer part at the beginning for about like 20 minutes. So I will also upload this slides and the video to ETL so that you can always review that. So let's start. The goal of the team project is mainly allow you to experience the entire research process, especially in computer vision and machine learning. So you're going to, most of you are graduate students and first or second year master or PhD students. So many of you probably haven't written any research paper yet, or some of you already have some publications. That's good. So this will be another opportunity for you to publish a paper in this domain. So the experience will include defining a problem and surveying the existing works and implementing the idea and doing experimentations on large-scale data sets. And you're going to analyze the results and modify your hypothesis and so on. So basically everything included in the research. And then finally, you are going to write a paper for the term paper, which will be basically a CVPR format research paper. So paper is the agreed form to best communicate your ideas and observations in scientific world. So getting familiar with paper writing is really important in academia, especially for you to graduate. And if you pursue academic career after on, it's really important skills. So this course will provide an opportunity for you to write a paper, especially specific in this field. So I strongly encourage you to use LaTeX. Everyone in computer vision or machine learning uses LaTeX for publications. So last semester, everyone actually used that, and it's super convenient if you after you get familiar with that. And if you have some nice results out of it, maybe we'll submit the paper to some conferences, probably ECCB next year. It will be held in Tel Aviv if the situation gets better. And yeah, so this will be really exciting opportunity for you once you have a computer vision paper in CVPR or ECCV. That will be also really good for your career and will help a lot when you search for a job. So that's it, the research experience in paper writing. And also, this will be a team project of 4 or 5 students in each team, which means you need to collaborate with other students. I know that that's not always happy. Some teams are really suffering from free riders. I know that. But yeah, still, it is really important to learn how to collaborate with other people. Especially, you know, that this class we have a variety of students from different backgrounds or different countries. And also we have undergraduate students, masters and PhD students. So it would be great for you to learn how to collaborate with a variety of people. So this is the basic timeline. So today I'm going to explain what you need to do for the proposer. And the proposer is due on September 27th, Monday. This is fixed. So I will post the how to upload it on ETL, but this is the deadline, September 27th, and the deadline will be noon. Probably we need to change it, probably 11 a.m., right before we start the lecture. And after that, about a week or 10 days later, during that time, myself and TAs will review your proposal, and we are going to choose about 20% of the proposers, about 16 to 20 projects. And those selected projects will be the projects we are going to do during this semester. So for those who got accepted, you're going to be the leader of that project. And the other students will join those projects and form a team, and we're going to work together. So the team formation is due on October 8th, about 2 days after the notification. And I'm going to announce more details around that time. And once you have the team, then you will have about 1 month to do the midterm reports. So that will be about half of the research. And you're going to basically write a paper about half, the first half of the paper. And then you will have another 1 month to finish the research topic and write a final paper. And each team will present in the last 2 days of our class in December. The dates are tentative, except for the proposal due dates. And I'm going to announce that when this changes. And the team size is about 4 to 5 students. So basically, it will be 4 students for each team. And because we have more than 80 students, some teams will have 5 students. But the 5th member will be only allowed once all other teams have 4 members. And sometimes you might ask for 3 members are okay, especially for conditionally accepted papers. I might allow it too. But that's just an exception. Basically, each team will be 4 students or 5. And each member is expected to contribute equally. I think I already mentioned in the first lecture. So there can be a variety of ways to contribute to the research projects. One of the most important things is generating ideas. What can we do to improve something or make something happen or make something possible? You can generate any ideas from what we are learning from the class, or you can do some research, or you can be just creative. So idea generation, everyone is expected to contribute. And if you are especially strong in programming, maybe coding and implementation part will be a great contribution to the projects. But if you're not strong at computer programming, that's okay. Still, you have tons of ways to contribute, such as designing experiments. So what is our hypothesis and how we are going to evaluate that, and how should we analyze the outcome? So this is not computer science or machine learning specific. This is just about science. And most of you are already doing science in graduate school. So you should be able to do experiment design and analysis in general. So that's really important part of the papers, of course. Or if you are good at writing or presentation, that's another good way to contribute. So please do not try to free ride. Everyone is busy. Please understand that everyone is busy, not just you. And this is really important part of this course. So, and one more thing is that the diversity is really encouraged. So here we have a lot of students from different backgrounds. So I know that some labs, some of you are taking this course together with your lab mates, but having a team with just from the same lab is not a good idea because it's not diverse. Please try to have a teammate from different backgrounds, different majors, or different countries, or in a variety of ways. So it would be beneficial to distribute these works to those teammates. And this is what I expect from the proposal logistics. In the proposal, I would like to ask you to include all of these things. So the first of all, the problem formulation. What problem would you like to solve? Or why this is important? So both of these are important. Why this problem matters, and what is exactly the problem you are going to solve. And the second thing is a literature survey. So you need to prove that, kind of verify that the proposed problem is not solved yet. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So try to find the previous works in the same problem and list up and summarize what they have tried, and still the problem may not be solved. So it is a good sign that if you can find a lot of research papers recently published in the same for the same problem, then that probably means that the problem is not solved, and many other people are also working on it. So literature survey is one of the most important parts in the proposal. And the dataset plan. So machine learning is data-driven approach, and we need data set to build our model and do some experimentations. But if you are not sure if we have a right data set to solve that, 2.5 months is not a long time. So you need to make sure that we already have the data set publicly available, or if you privately have it, or if you have detailed plan to create your own data set, everything is fine. But if you are not really sure that if there's a data set that is suitable for your task, then that will be a problem. So please have a concrete data set plan in the proposal. And lastly, I would like to see what is the expected outcome. So how you are going to measure success. Basically, this will be the evaluation plan and evaluation metric. And it's better if those evaluation metric is a standard metric that is used in that task in research community. But if the task is something new, then you may have to propose your own. So either is fine, but you need to have some way to measure your success. And lastly, the optionally, you probably want to have your very brief summary of your background, especially if the proposal is related to your expertise area, especially if you are not computer science or machine learning major. And if you'd like to combine your own research area, then having some background about yourself will be also useful. So the project proposal will be up to 2 pages, and you can use any free format. And this can be written in English or Korean. It's up to you. So yeah, basically, it's both of them are fine. And this will be included in the course grading for 5%. But if you do not submit this, I'm going to degrade 1 alphabet grade. So this is kind of required, even though you, yeah, basically you need to submit this proposal, everyone. And not just the 5%, but if you don't submit this, you're going to lose a lot of grades. So yeah, that's why I'm saying this. And once your proposal is submitted, and we're going to review it, and as I told you, we are going to give you this one of these 3 results. Accept means that your project will be led by you during the semester, and 3 or 4 other students will join you. So you will be basically leading the project to have the final paper. And the leader will be the first author of the paper if we submit it to some conferences later. And conditional accept is, we may or may not have this, but if your project looks good, but it's sometimes it's kind of on the borderline, or if it's too specific to some particular area, I may give conditional accept, which means if you find if a sufficient number of students join the project, then you're going to do that. But otherwise, maybe that will be canceled, and you need to join some other projects. So last semester, we had 2 or 3 conditional accepted projects, actually 3. And 2 of them, we actually did that. 1 of them was canceled. And reject means that your proposal is not accepted, and you need to join another project to do. But rejection doesn't mean that your proposal is bad. So in many cases, actually, the proposer got full credits, which I give the full scores, but that was rejected mainly because it's too large scope, for example, for this 1 semester team projects. So yeah, I have some more slides to list the grading criteria. And the last thing is important. Some of you may be interested in doing your own ongoing research in your lab. But please make sure that if it is OK to list other team members as the co-authors if we have the paper as an outcome. In some cases, your advisor may not like it because that was funded by some other funding agencies or some companies, and they may not like it. So please make sure that if you want to propose something that you are already doing, please make sure that it is OK. Because other students will contribute to the project, and they are entitled to be an author of that paper. So this is important. And if you are not really sure about that, please choose another topic to propose. Okay. Yeah, here's the grading criteria. So these are basically the things that I showed previous slides that I would like to see in the proposer. So clear formulation of the problem and task. This should be very clear, and I should be able to just understand, okay, this is the problem they would like to tackle. And sufficient literature survey to prove that the proposed task is not yet solved. So please list all the previous works that you have found and summarize what they have done, what ideas they have generated, and how they performed, just like the paper. And detailed plan for data collection, I already told. And also quality of writing does matter. Especially, please include the citations in a scientific way, as in the paper, to the existing works, so that we can see that you have actually surveyed. And in addition to that, to be selected as the main project, we are going to see, first of all, the topic. Is it relevant to machine learning for visual understanding? It is important. Please do not choose some topics without any relevance to visual understanding, because this is visual understanding course. And scope. Is this a reasonable size for 4 or 5 members during 2 or 3 months? If it's too big, even though it's really good topic, I should reject that because it's not doable. So please consider the scope as well. And potential to publish. So what's the odds for publication if things actually work well? So if this is this a good candidate for CVPR publication or machine learning venues or some specific domains like biologies or some other study of areas other than machine learning? So I'm going to consider that as one of the main criteria to select the proposers. And yeah, the leader's background does matter if you're especially proposing some ideas from applications in your own areas. And I listed some general advices here. So yeah, I listed some resources in the later slides. So I'm going to talk about that later. And yeah, so do some initial research before you actually choose the topic. This is really important. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So understand what is already done, and we should not do the same thing again because it's already solved problem and it's already published. So it's waste of time if you are doing the same research. And also understand what constraints do you have. You may want to propose something like a moonshot, but if you don't have a proper data set or computing resources, that will not be successful within the time frame. So please consider the time and the manpower constraints. And you are always encouraged to consult with me or the TAs to discuss about the scope or difficulty or yeah, about the topics, anything about your ideas before the deadline, I mean. And for now, I would like to emphasize that please focus on the problem itself, not the solution. You may have some brief ideas of what you are going to do as your solution, but for now, please focus on this problem more. So these questions are the valid questions you need to ask. What problem you are going to tackle? Why that problem is interesting or important? What does make this problem challenging? Why is it hard? And what are existing approaches on this problem in the literature? And what are the limitations of those existing methods? And what novelty you can add to that? So except for the last question, everything else is about the problem itself, not your solution. So in the proposer, we focus more about the problem. And think and plan about the data. I'm emphasizing this again and again because that is one of the most important things. Is there any standard data set available? Yes, then that's great. You can just use that. if it's not publicly open, then there may be some detailed instruction. You may have to, for example, contact the owner to get explicit permission. Then do it early. Otherwise, it may take just about a month. Then yeah, it's a red signal because this is just 2 months projects. Or you may create your own data set, but please make sure that you have very detailed plan for that. Otherwise, the time frame does not work. And yeah, I listed a few topics here, but I'm going to show some detailed examples in the later slides. So let me skip this one. So this is the list of resources. So yeah, I already shared this slide to everyone. So please try to see some other papers from the recent conference proceedings. These are the top conference venues in computer vision or machine learning. And this is the Stanford class projects, which is very similar to this class. So you can get a better idea what other students in other schools are actually doing this kind of things. And Kaggle competition is another good source of choosing projects. So yeah, I will explain more about that in the later slides. And I added the last semester's projects. So in the last semester, I taught the same class, and I uploaded their final papers, and their presentation in this page. So I strongly encourage you to view them before you proceed. Yeah, and here I have some example ideas. These are just examples. So one category that is suitable for this class, especially, is applying machine learning to your expertise area, because we have a lot of students from different backgrounds. For example, I just list a few. So multiple label classification from Amazon rainforest images, or plant disease classification, soccer stats with computer vision. In the last semester, we had a student from physical education, and probably someone like him is interested in this kind of topics. So yeah, these are just examples, but you can basically combine your expertise area and machine learning for computer vision to propose something interesting projects. And here's the Kaggle competitions. Kaggle is a website, actually hosts a lot of machine learning competitions. So they provide the data set, and they have very specific evaluation metric. They are going to measure their success. And they have leaderboards, and sometimes they have cash prize. And that cash prize sometimes goes up to like $1 million. So that will be a good opportunity. If you win the competition, you will be rich, not just the good grades on this class. But if you decide to do that, be aware of the logistics enforced by the organizers. So they may have different deadlines, and in most cases, they use their unaccessible test data set to evaluate your model. So in that case, how should you evaluate your model for this project? So yeah, that is another thing you need to discuss. And sometimes they have affiliated conferences and workshops. So you can actually submit a paper to that. And that would be a really good opportunity for you to publish another paper, especially if you are ranked at the top in some workshop competitions, then that's a good spec. So, I mean, you can list it in your resume, and that would be awesome. And also, there are a lot of completed competitions. So even though it's not active, you can still sometimes download the data set, and you can do the project using that data set, even though you cannot be officially on the leaderboard or get the cash prize, but you can still use the data set for our projects. Yes, but lastly, please do not choose a competition unrelated to visual data. For example, like movie review sentiment analysis. This is pure NLP or data mining, but it's not related to computer vision, basically. Or you can tackle some specific issue in a known task. For example, this is an object detection task, basically locating the objects, human, here. But sometimes they overlap, and it's hard to capture who is who. So this is called occlusion. And so this is an ongoing research, some hot topic of the ongoing research in tracking. So that's one example. Or basically doing the classification on the general data set is hard, but you may want to tackle something like this, especially if you are majoring in this kind of field. All of these birds are in this, they look similar, but they are in different species. So how should we classify these fine-grained classifications? So yeah, something like this. You may be more creative to define some specific issues in the known problems like classifications or tracking or detection and so on. Or another interesting thing is you can actually propose a new problem. For example, yeah, here you can just be creative. So I just listed a few, like precipitation prediction from a video without access to some specific equipment. Can we guess how much rain is coming from just a scene like this? Or emotion prediction from viewer faces, like if we have the paired data set of the show and its watchers video, can we recognize which part is more interesting to watch? Something like that. Or these three other papers are linked from the Stanford project list, which I think interesting. So you may be able to collect or create your own data set. And you can also consider to release it and publish it. Then other people will use it, and they will cite your paper, and you will be famous. And sometimes very renowned senior researcher retire in 70, and the most cited paper is actually the data set paper that he or she published when they were graduate students. So it is really often the case. And actually myself, I'm an author of the YouTube 8 million dataset, and that is the most cited paper among my papers. So it is really common. So it's a good contribution to the research community. And lastly, experimental survey is another way to conduct these research projects. So this is a variation of survey paper, which lists and categorizes all the relevant works in some particular problem. And here, not just listing and summarizing their contributions, but you actually runs the code, and you may need to implement if necessary, to empirically compare them. So why do we need this? Experimental settings are usually designed by the author of each paper, and that varies a lot, especially in some particular problems. And it's not comparable, but science is about comparison. Which algorithm or which method performs better in what situations? So in what situation, what algorithm we need to use? That is basically the science. So we can very thoroughly design the comparison of existing methods, and you can draw some interesting conclusions out of that. That's a good contribution, especially in these days. A lot of deep learning methods are published, but no object comparison is done in many cases. So this experimental survey is, you may not need your novel idea, but you will need more analytical skills to design the experiments and conduct them to draw some conclusion. So here are some examples. The first one is my own work when I was in graduate school. So I studied recommender systems at the time, and I compared about 15 to 20 recommendation models that was developed so far. And I actually implemented all of them and compared them to draw a lot of interesting outcomes. So this is one of the most cited paper from my publications. So that's an example. And I also listed some other computer vision related experimental survey papers. So you can take a look here. Yeah, so we already used 30 minutes. Wow. Any questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, so I have a question about like, is it possible to get some help from one of my like friend or something? Because I'm planning to propose a research about medical data set. But
Yeah,
for
sure.
that, of course,
Okay.
like,
Yeah, you can do it.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And like for that also, I'm wondering that like, how am I supposed to arrange the like order of the co-author? Like, how would
So
we decide that?
there's no hard rule. Basically, you need to discuss with your teammates, and if all of them agree, then I'm okay with that.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Professor, can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I couldn't find PPT slides of this kind of proposal. So, did you share
Professor,
slides by
can you hear
email?
me?
Yes, I already shared
Can you hear me?
Tae, just a moment. I will first answer to Junbom's question. So, yeah, I already shared to your SNU accounts. Please check your SNU email.
Yeah. I just found that I got PPT slides of lecture 3. So this kind of proposal information wasn't included in that slide.
Yeah, it's a separate slides. I shared both of them.
Okay.
You should have received another email. If you can't find it, just send me an email after the class, then I will reshare it.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
And Tae, do you have other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I wonder if I can use Kaggle data in this course.
Yes.
Is it allowed?
Yeah.
To use Kaggle data because I'm worrying about using the data without permission of permission
yeah.
of the
Okay.
Kaggle.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. When you use the data, actually any data set, please check its license. In most cases, academic data sets are publicly available.
Okay.
So if you are able to download that, that's usually publicly available, but
Okay.
not necessarily. So yeah, that's actually a good question. So please check its license, and if it's okay to use it, probably for academic purpose like this, it should be okay. But if you want to use it for commercial purpose, sometimes they don't allow it. And if the dataset is not publicly available, then you will need to do some additional actions like asking the permission, or sometimes you need to take some courses or something like that. And if you're satisfied with the condition, then it's okay. You can still use, just follow their instructions to choose the data set. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Professor. I have a question too.
Sure.
Oh, okay. As you mentioned, computation resource is one of the most important constraints. And are you going to provide extra GPU resources for us?
Oh, that's a good question. Our Graduate School of Data Science provides some clusters and GPUs for courses. So yeah, I think I can provide accounts there. So I will ask the TAs to post the announcements later.
Because if we know like how many GPU resources are accounted for us, it will be helpful for us to like be prepared for a proposal. Yeah.
Yeah, it would not be a lot though. Probably 1, 2, or 4 GPUs, but using 4 GPUs is hard. So yeah, please send me an email later to discuss further about that.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm gonna stop recording here.